Well, the blessed day, Blue Train movement and Blue Train citizens, we are here once again live with Chatufa. I want to thank you so much for supporting the platform. Every time that we are live, we always find that there are family members who are already waiting and already, anticipating for the coming information on what is happening in our nation. I'm very excited really to be coming once again on this show and sharing with us what is happening in the nation as we are standing as intercessors praying for the nation, as we are standing as those that understand the realm of the spirit and what God is doing to free the nation of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for being part and parcel of this show. I am very excited to be sharing with us what is happening in the nation. A lot of things are happening, and we want to look at the trouble that is happening right in the camp of the enemy as God is in it. For people that are joining us for the very first time, we would always want to encourage them to subscribe to the channel, like and share. It is very important to do so. Right, we are looking at trouble in ZANU PF as deployees fight it out in court. Matinyarare versus the Grain Millers Association Zimbabwe are wrestling out in court, and it is very, very exciting what is happening. It is a sign that all is not well in ZANU PF. We must always remember that these are people that are deployed by Emmerson Mnangagwa, appointed by Emmerson Mnangagwa, and they are working for the same organization. But we are seeing of late, there's been too much division and fight within ZANU PF itself. You remember the issue of the network, the Wi-Fi issue of Starlink, and how Varakashi and ZANU PF MPs rose and started fighting so hard to make sure that the Potras slides will be exposed. And we saw also after the sanctions were removed, many people were coming out lambasting the ZANU PF government, even those that are inside, saying we don't want to hear excuses again about sanctions. Now we need to see the country working. And now we are seeing also a war that is happening soon after the drought that ZANU PF has declared over the nation, and they've started to import some grain from outside the country, or that grain that they are importing, especially from South Africa, most of that is GMO. And remember what we said last time, there was a war again between the same Benson Matinyarare and Chris Mutsvangwa over the story of INSCO and the GMOs. You remember the story of how Mutsvangwa was defending INSCO, and Matinyarare was exposing that Mutsvangwa has some shares with INSCO, so that is why he was coming out, guns blazing, fighting, making sure that he wants to silence Benson Matinyarare. But in this time around, Matinyarare is going after the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe for importing GMOs. If you remember, the genetically modified organisms, these are the GMOs. They are actually not real seed. It's seed that is modified. It's made within the laboratory, and so a lot of chemicals are involved in coming up with this. So we have GMOs literally on everything. We have GMO across the food chain. We have GMOs from meat, from chicken, from pork, from beef, from milk, everything. You'd find that it's all over across. So studies show that GMOs are very, very dangerous to the human body. There are other GMOs that have been studied, and they've been discovered that they can cause cancer. So they carry some particles in them, or some molecules in them, or some makeup, some genetic makeup that is in them that can be able to cause cancer in human beings. So ZANU PF being very negligent, and you remember the last time we were talking about General Chiwenga when he was Minister of Health, that he acquired a lot, boxes and boxes of medicine from India, only for Parenyatwa Hospital, only to discover when it was already stocked in Parenyatwa that most of that medicine was actually way above way over the date of expiry. And this is what is happening when we have a reckless and careless government. You can be exposed to very, very serious dangers. Now, when it comes to ZANU PF, it is really very risky to put our trust as Zimbabweans in ZANU PF, because ZANU PF does not do anything perfect. Just from the way that they are administering the country, you can tell. So for us as Zimbabweans to trust ZANU PF, it's really, really, risky to do that, because they don't care about Zimbabweans. They don't care about Zimbabwean lives. All they care about is just themselves and nothing else. So it's very tricky. So the idea of the Grain Millers Association in Zimbabwe bringing in maize from GMO maize from South Africa is what is causing the fights between them and Rutendo Benson Matinyarare. And the issue has since gone to court, and now it is like ZANU PF against ZANU PF in court, and ZANU PF against ZANU PF with a ZANU PF judge or a ZANU PF magistrate. So it's just like there is war and there's fighting in the same camp of ZANU PF, and this is a sign that all is not well, and where we are going, God is really brewing up a lot of fights in ZANU PF, and this is a sign that God is on the move, and ZANU PF definitely is getting towards its very, very end. So it's very exciting. I just want us to look at the tweet that I have here, which is actually addressing this issue from the very ZANU PF patriots. This is a tweet from the ZANU PF patriots themselves. And they are saying, High Court grants provisional order against Rutendo Benson Matinyarare for defamatory social media posts. Right, and it reads, the High Court has issued a provisional order directing social media activist Rutendo Benson Matinyarare to remove defamatory material against members of the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe, GMAZ, from X, formerly Twitter. Justice Samuel Gede also prohibited Matinyarare from further publishing defamatory content against the GMAZ members. Matinyarare's posts alleging harmful claims against GMAZ and its chairperson prompted the court application. GMAZ sought an interdict to hold Matinyarare's defamatory postings until the suit is finalized, citing ongoing harm and potential further damage to its members' reputation. So there is Matinyarare, and that is the story that is happening between him and the Grain Millers Association in Zimbabwe. But if you ask me, I would, in this instance, agree with Benson Matinyarare. You know, Zimbabwe has been mismanaged. Just last night, we were talking about that Indian model. You still remember the Indian model, or the show that ended up cutting before the end because of a power cut that I had. We were talking about the issue of a model that is working. Right. And we were saying Zimbabwe has never managed to have a government that plans ahead, that learns from an experience. And after learning from experience, they can come up with a model or a system to curb such a problem in the event that it happens again in the near future. This is a result of a poor kind of leadership that we have in Zimbabwe. There was no need, definitely, for the Grain Millers Association to be importing GMO maize from South Africa into Zimbabwe, and definitely no need. But it happens because we have a government that is never prepared for anything. We have a firefighting government, a government that only starts to act when there is a crisis. But they can never foresee a crisis and start to make amends, to prepare for the upcoming crisis. They only start panicking and running like headless chickens once they've discovered that the problem is already on the table. And this is very, very wrong. This is very, very wrong. Droughts, like I was saying in the last show, droughts have happened in Zimbabwe many, many times. But the ZANU PF government is too weak in terms of thinking capacity and mentality to sit down and say, okay, in the event that drought comes again, what is it that we must do from now until that time? You remember what happened with Pharaoh and Joseph? Yes, if Pharaoh was told that the dream that you had of 7 cows that were fat and 7 cows that were thin, and those thin ones ended up swallowing the fat ones. And he explained and he said, no, Joseph explained and he said, it means there's going to be 7 years of what? Of great harvest. But then after that, there's going to be 7 years of drought, and there's going to be serious hunger, drought all over the world. And for Pharaoh, in his wisdom, he said, right, what should we do now to prepare for that which is coming? And they had to start, storing up grain, storing up reserves. By the time the 7 years came, Joseph was actually administering the whole system. Joseph was actually administering the model that they had put in place, 7 years of preparation to cover up, to curb the scenario that was coming ahead. And Egypt never suffered of drought and hunger because of a model that was put in place. This is the same thing that we are talking about, that ZANU PF is clueless. We have got just dunderheads of politicians in ZANU PF who cannot prepare on time and to put measures to make sure that whatever eventuality that might happen, if we have learned from it beforehand, we must come up with some system that is going to protect the country from the same problem if it so happens again. So now, because they don't have such plans, the drought comes again. When it comes, and remember, before the drought came, they were lying again. Propaganda. Nick Mangwana, I told you last time in that show that he had come out and said Zimbabwe has enough grain for wheat and maize to last up to the next harvesting season. He was lying. And just a few months down the line, government is declaring that there's totally no maize in the country. And now this Grain Millers Association has to start running around for maize all over the country and now bringing in GMOs into the country. Now they are having misunderstandings and fights with also some ZANU PF apologists who are like Benson Matinyarare, who are saying you are bringing poisonous stuff into the country. These GMOs are likely going to cause cancer to the people that are consuming it. And the Grain Millers Association, they don't want to hear about it. And obviously, MNANGAGWA does not want to hear about it. All that he wants is to paint a picture to the nation of a lot of maize or wheat or probably milling meal in the shelves somewhere, so that they look like, they are doing something, without considering that whatever that it is that they are bringing into the country, what are the repercussions of bringing the GMO into the country? If indeed the GMO maize that they are bringing is indeed carrying that poisonous stuff in it, which can cause cancer to the Zimbabwean people. This is why I am saying I totally agree with Matinyarare on this one. Like I was saying in the last show, if ever there is anything that is correct and right, no matter how much we differ with somebody, we are very honest and truthful to the point that when somebody is right, they are right. If they are wrong, they are wrong. I don't care how much he loves ZANU PF. He's a ZANU PF apologist, and he has been defending ZANU PF from time immemorial. But on this one, he's correct. He's right. And even on the last time, you remember the last time about Potras again, and the Starlink issue, he was also very vocal about it. And I said, big up to him and Kudza MTs. These are ZANU PF people, but we said we are definitely in agreement with them. And we are saying, guys, good work, good job done. Even on this one, Matinyarare is 100% right. But now look at what MNANGAGWA is doing with the courts. The courts are now trying to rule against Matinyarare. Why? Because they do understand that if they lose the case, if Matinyarare comes out to be correct, the problem that is going to happen eventually is that the GMOs can end up being stopped. And if they are stopped, the drought is going to hit hard on Zimbabwe. And that is going to be working detrimental to the rule of Emmerson Mnangagwa. So Mnangagwa is fighting so much just about protecting his rule, not about the repercussions, the consequences of bringing GMO into Zimbabwe. So this is the issue. And this is the story. So maybe let us just hear what other people are saying, because there are many people that are differing. Some people are against it. Some people are for it. And you can find that ZANU PF people here will be divided, while there are others that support Matinyarare and there are others that are supporting the Grain Millers Association. So there is a division already in ZANU PF there. And we are also going for the idea that Matinyarare is right, is correct. Yes, we don't want things that will harm the citizens of Zimbabwe. When we don't have cancer machines, we don't have medication, we don't have anything in the hospitals, they are bringing poisonous stuff that might end up affecting the lives of Zimbabwean people. So let's hear what other people are saying here. Somebody is saying here, I stand with Rutendo. We shall not be silenced by corporate interests that don't value our lives. Yes. Boera West citizens, he thinks ZANU PF patriots protects him since they captured judiciary. Dzinotongerwa just shake buildings zoverengwa kumatare. Reasons why they are still in office. Chapera Ramba says first it was Hulu, now this vanopanduka Vese Gorerino. Indeed, I'm telling you, some people are beginning to have their eyes open, right? Grain Marketing Association Zimbabwe violated the constitution, and Benson just needs to prove this. The argument about whether or it's harmful is dependent on what substances were seen in the lab tests. This is science, and the Grain Marketing Association Zimbabwe, Grain Millers Association Zimbabwe might find itself wanting. Yes, I think I like the point that this one is making, because if Matinyarare has gone further to make laboratory tests of the kind of grain that these guys are bringing into the country, and proven scientifically that indeed there are harmful organisms that are found in there, then the story will simply be straightforward. Matinyarare's case will be clear, and he will have to come out victorious. But unfortunately, it can be political. That is the problem. While Matinyarare's case can be genuine with proven results scientifically from the laboratory, you may find ZANU PF still wants to politic, and they might end up even making him lose the case just for the sake of politics, because Mnangagwa has to protect his position. He's ZANU PF Ogusalai. I don't know what this one wanted to say. Whatever happens to him, we don't care. If anything, it must happen fast already. I stand with Matinyarare. I expect you as our governing party to do something to protect him. Matinyarare, they are now preparing to throw you under the bus. They are now calling you a social media activist. It still said, yes, indeed, I even wanted to comment about this, that now they are calling him social media activist, as if he's not part and parcel of them. You see what ZANU PF patriots are calling him now? It's like they are distancing themselves away. They don't want to continue showing their association with Benson, because now he's speaking from the other side. And this is it. Someone is saying, keep exposing the rot, Matinyarare. I'm with you on this. I think I was going to say with you. We always warn Varakash like Matinyarare. Guys, if you are supporting evil, one day it will catch up with you. ZANU PF is not a good thing to be associated with. I agree, 100%. Rutendo is doing great work in fighting for sanity in these organizational operations. However, in some cases, there's need to filter what, how, and where to express some opinions. We don't destroy the house, we are cleaning. All right. I don't know whether this one sounds like is more like ZANU PF. This one is saying vulgar. We are not going to read vulgar on this platform. This one is saying, I stand with Comrade Rutendo. You see, can you see that there are divisions? Someone is saying, we care less. In fact, you can neutralize him in any way which suits you. This one is saying, after this, Rutendo should take on the vaccines. GMAZ now has to prove that they quality control measures and machines used to test. Pakaipa. Urairanai kushek building kwenye koko munyerere. Someone is saying that also there. Today he is now social media activist, so people are also laughing on that issue, that the ZANU PF patriots are now calling him a social media activist and not like one of them, right? So this is the story. This is what we have, family. I just want also to hear what the family says here. We've heard what Zimbabweans are saying from different quarters, some supporting Matinyarare, some on the side of ZANU PF. But we would want to also know what the family is saying here. But like I said, I'm 100% behind Matinyarare is correct. These things need to be tested. We cannot risk the lives of Zimbabwean people. We want to enter the new Greater Zimbabwe that is just a mile away in good health. We don't want to be poisoned by ZANU PF the last minute, just imagine, before we enter into the new Greater Zimbabwe. So we don't want to bury citizens of Zimbabwe immediately after we enter the new Greater Zimbabwe because of cancer-related issues caused by Mnangagwa and his pseudo-second republic's own negligence of not putting up systems that are there to protect or to curb any such issues like drought and other unforeseeable, disasters upon the country from happening. Or if they do happen, something must be already in place to make sure they protect the citizens, they protect Zimbabweans from any eventuality. So let me hear what the family is saying here. We have Kampala says the GMO maize issue is very serious, family. Let's not just greet each other here as in other programs. Let's comment and show disapproval. this will kill future generations and original crops. That is very true. Yes, I think I spoke about this. I agree with you, my champion there. I spoke about the GMOs in depth, that, you know, it is very, very dangerous, because in the event that some people would start to plant that kind of a seed, the GMO, it cross-pollinates with the natural seed. And once it does that, you have killed the natural seed. And I explained that the European countries love to import things that come from Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe has been one country that has kept the original species of their produce, whether it can be cattle or sheep or goats, or whether meat products or products that are coming from the fields, or even fruit products. That's why you find that even the Queen Elizabeth herself, before she died, it is said that she loved Zimbabwean meat. The meat that she ate right in Birmingham Palace was coming directly from Zimbabwe, because they knew that it was 100% organic food. Unlike these GMOs that have like taken over, like South Africa. Oh my God! In South Africa, you can find a banana that is the size of your arm. In South Africa, bananas that are the size of your arm. I'm telling you, very long and huge and very yellow. And when you see them, you think, oh, what a great farmer. No, those are not original bananas. Those are GMOs. You can find also apples like that, any other kind of food. Like I said, that GMOs have gone across the whole food chain. You can find chickens that can be growing within a period, within days, maybe 2 weeks, really. You can find a chick having grown into a huge chicken to the point that it can't even stand on its feet. It will be too heavy and too big in just 2 weeks. So those are some of the GMO stuff. And when people are consuming that, they are also consuming together with the chemicals that are in the chemicals that these people are injecting into these animals. I think people do understand what we are talking about. So if Matinyarare is bringing this idea, that was his war again with INSCO, because INSCO is importing a lot of its stuff that they are using from South Africa. That's why Matinyarare was also in that battle. And Mutsvangwa was there defending INSCO, because he also has some shares that he has within that INSCO. So this is it. Gogo's Story, how are you today? She says the naked truth is that we have not had a government at all since day one in 1980. Mugabe had his own selfish plans, and they came MNANGAGWA with his bizarre plan. We need to start afresh. Definitely, we need a new start. Zimbabwe must be kick-started afresh, and we must have a proper leadership. If you remember the issue about the GMOs, Mugabe was very strict about GMOs, very, very strict. He vowed that GMOs were never going to be allowed in Zimbabwe. And during the time of Mugabe, they never came. GMOs never entered the country until now, when we have a loose government now. We have a careless leadership. Now look, GMOs are beginning to come into Zimbabwe to destroy all our crops and our organic food. Matinyarare is slowly becoming sober. Our circus has been on for too long. Yes, many of them are becoming sober now. Judith Marigana says poor leadership. Indeed, that's poor leadership. Matinyarare can make reference to European countries, including the UK. We have any GMO crops. Our neighbors have also banned them, e.g. Zambia. You're right. You see, they need to protect the crop. Right. I think as Zimbabweans, we have learned our lesson not to allow unschooled leadership in the future. Exactly. Like what I'm always saying, that with this pseudo Second Republic, God has simply allowed Zimbabweans to be able to see what it means, what is called a poor leadership, the worst leadership, political leaders that you can ever have, so that when time comes in the new great Zimbabwe, we will be able to really identify what we call poor political leaders, and those should never be allowed near any ballot box, so that we can protect the plans of God for the new great Zimbabwe. Otherwise, family, this is about it. This is the issue that we were having today. We would need to see what others are saying. You can continue commenting. For those that are going to watch the show after the live, continue commenting. I'll go through your comments and see what you think. If it needs be, we can bring a program where we will come scientifically proving what GMOs do, and I can bring a lot of graphic material that we can also put here and add that to the screen so that people can see the effects of GMOs. I can do that depth study of it, and then we can come and do it on the main platform. Remember, on the main platform is where we do the longer shows. It would need a longer show so that Zimbabweans are educated. Remember, the channel is not a news channel. We are here to educate each other, open each other's minds and understanding as we pray for the upcoming freedom of the Zimbabwean people. Otherwise, family, I would want to appreciate you for joining me. Thank you very much. Let us meet in the next show. The next show is going to be on the main channel, Chatufa Television Production, and I think it's going to be around 3 o'clock, I think, if I'm right. You can check the banner. It is already there. And by the way, tonight we are going to be doing the part 2. Part 2 is coming of the religious and political oppression by public demand. It is coming today at exactly 8 o'clock in the evening, 8 o'clock Central African time. We are going to be talking about how to identify fake churches and fake pastors. And a lot is going to be discussed today. So don't miss the evening show. It's going to be fireworks. So be ready for that. Thank you very much for joining me. God bless you and God protect you. And I sign out.